else to get united. Like, what we gotta do is meet everybody on 149th Street at the bench.
Hey dudes, welcome back to The Bench. Today I want to kind of piggyback off a different video we recently made that kind of opened my eyes to the current state of graffiti. And it made me ask the question, is graffiti culture even something that exists in 2022? Now, for the past couple of years, I've been of the firm belief that graffiti culture is practically dead. But I'm gonna want your guys' opinion on this topic in the comments down below. In a time not too long ago, graffiti culture was pretty defined. It was pretty easy to see and pretty prevalent within, well, graffiti as a whole. Culture, of course, being just like the social norms, etiquettes, and behaviors of a specific group. There was a lot of things in graffiti culture that made graffiti graffiti. There were certain things you had to do, certain things you didn't do, and all of this kind of formed into what we understood as the unspoken rules of graffiti and the unspoken culture of graffiti. Certain places and walls you didn't hit, like, you know, people's little mom and pop shops, people's homes, cemeteries, places of worship, you guys know the list. Certain spots you didn't go over, like tribute murals and stuff of that sort, pieces that had been around for 10 or more years, and just, you know, the normal hierarchy of graffiti. Hand styles don't go over throw-ups, throw-ups don't go over straight letters don't go over, you know, full-blown pieces, so on and so forth, and just some things you didn't do. I remember like 15 years ago, you simply just never asked what people wrote. That was extremely taboo. That ended up falling out of favor the more social media kind of blew up, but that used to be a thing. Your name was your secret identity. You were very much incognito. When you went out bombing, you were almost in disguise. No one knew who you were, they would only see your name up, and that was the only evidence of your existence. There was nothing more to it, and that was part of the culture. That's what made it underground. That's what made it low-key. And that's why you never asked, what do you write? It's none of your business what that person writes. You know that? Or knowing what someone wrote was kind of earned. You had to learn not only who the people were around you, but you had to get in with certain people. You kind of had to show that you were trustworthy enough in order to be trusted with the name of a graffiti artist. And nowadays, it's literally people's Instagram handle. Oh, who is texting me? And at the top of this list, one of the things that you definitely did not do is you never use the name of a legend. Period. Hands down. There was no debate about that. That was a very clear and understood rule. And if you did use the name of a legend, you pretty much did not gain respect at all. Nobody would take you seriously. Why should they? Not only do you not respect those who came before you, but you didn't even bother to learn the history of the very thing you're trying to be a part of. What kind of respect do you deserve if you couldn't even be bothered to do that? That was the mindset of people back then. All of these rules, all of these ethics, all of this that made graffiti culture was all based around respect. Whether you got up for yourself or you got up for notoriety, respect came along with it. And if you got up, you earned that respect. That was at the core of graffiti. That was the heartbeat of graffiti, you could say. But that respect, that core of graffiti, has become diluted and watered down over time. These things became less important and people stopped caring about them as much. Even before social media certainly kind of sped up the process, but it's not the cause of it. And I forget exactly who it was that said it. Someone in a documentary went ahead and said, what culture is there in going online, ordering paint, and having it show up to your doorstep? Part of the culture used to be having to go out and get your paint, having to go out and steal it because you didn't have the funds or you didn't have the resources in order to actually go ahead and buy it. You had to maintain your caps for all of the same reasons. They just weren't all that easily accessible, and unless you were gonna go out and steal paint, you weren't buying new caps. It could be argued that there is no more culture in graffiti, and I would certainly agree with that sentiment. Especially once we stop caring about legends, as they are the ones who provided the entire foundation we build off of to this day. We wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for what they did before us, and I think that deserves some level of respect. Now, I'm in the very unique position where I get to speak to a bunch, literally thousands of new graffiti artists on a very frequent basis, and time again I see that these new graffiti artists aren't necessarily getting up for themselves, they're getting up for respect. You don't get up for anything if you don't give respect, because if you're not giving respect to those who came before you, do you think the ones who come after you are gonna give you any respect once you're considered old school? No. Why would they? You help dilute the very culture you now want now that you're older and old school. But if you didn't give respect, you don't earn any of that. You don't deserve any of that. And then you have those people who say that they get up for their own enjoyment. And once again, I speak to a lot of new graffiti artists. I can tell you that most don't get up for that reason. But for the ones that do, I don't fully believe that they get up just for the sake of enjoyment. Because if they did, they wouldn't attach a name to themselves. They would just be happy with drawing smiley faces, penises, or, you know, whatever belligerents they want to go ahead and put on the wall. You attach a name to it, so you attach an identity to associate with what you did, to take credit and to gain credibility and respect for the work you put in. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't attach a name to it. So in a nutshell, I do believe graffiti culture is pretty much dead. I think it's been dead for a while now, but it's just not commonly thought about. And it's not commonly thought about because most of the new school graffiti artists don't even care about it in the first place to even think about it. And that's not to say that every single new school graffiti artist is guilty of these things, but I do think it's a trend that we are certainly getting deeper in, and a trend that we've been following for a pretty long time now. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about this specific topic? I'd love to go ahead and hear from you. And if you're new here, you want to learn more about graffiti, check out the best how to do graffiti tutorials right here in the top playlist. I even got ebooks I published somewhere in the cards. I don't know what side they pop up on. And those things are good. Those ebooks are incredible. And we're working on some new ones as well. More on that later. And if you just want some more graffiti content, check out this right here. But I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Peace.